bring you folks on Facebook here with us. So, the Stark Father.
Well, how about free dinner was their idea. Becky, Kevin. The team here at Lampo loves what you guys are doing, loves that we started a conversation that we cannot take credit for a million times over. Everybody asked me from the start experiment, did you think it'd be like this? And the answer is always no. Like, I thought it'd be 30 people that talked to me for like a week. And that was that. So then like we'd start singles trending. Like, I like that I find out about meetups later. Like, I'll be like, ah, Houston had a meetup. That's great. And so it's just been really fun to me, and it's been really fun to see. Like, again, you guys tried to raise $1,000 and did it in what, 88 minutes, 82 minutes? And raised $5,000. So, like, our hope is that we'll do a Start Experiment, you know, whole event at some point. Because I think it'd just be really fun, and I think it'd be fun to have speakers from the Start Experiment and make it, you know, really organic and really fun. Because I do feel like it's a get out of the way thing. One of the things for me is that we've got a team that can execute. Like, so what I love to do is combine your ideas with our ability to execute. Like, alone, I can't do a dinner, but when you plug into a team like Kevin and Becky and Amy and Pete and all these folks, you get to really execute some fun things. Like, we couldn't get space. We couldn't, you know, we flew in a DJ from California. Like, there's muscle and execution at Ramsey. And so I really feel like, I don't know, I told Becky backstage, I was like, we've really slid in some cool things under the wire. Like, because I didn't tell anyone at work about Start Experiment. I just did it. And I was like,
wow.
Wow. And then I was like, hey, Becky. So I did it the worst way possible via email, not a survey. And like, they were like, you gotta do it on survey. It's automatic. I was like, well, you can just copy and paste emails and it'll sell. Yeah, I'm not smart. I'm not, and Jenny saw that. So we're really excited about doing it in the future, and we're doing something tonight at 8 that we've never done before when we do the fear lesson, and it's an idea a friend of ours had. I'm not going to tell them everything, and so I won't do the reveal, but it's really exciting, and I think if people will go along with it, it'll be really potentially powerful. And then tomorrow we've got some great speakers. Dana from Brooklyn, who's this chalk artist that's been on the cover of Time. She's amazing. I'm really excited. A friend of mine who I've known over the last year and had just a horrific experience on Twitter, a friend of mine named Sammy's here to talk about second chances. And I'm going to say that I want Start events to be a second chance place where this isn't, it's not a come if you've won. It's just a come event. And so I think that matters. And so I want this to be a place where you can have good conversations and real conversations, and you don't have to come in once you've accomplished something. You just get to come in and start something and begin something. And so I'm really looking forward to having him on stage and doing an interview and talking about what's that experience like that you went through with Twitter. We've got the musicians tonight are amazing. Steve Mokler has a song called Riser that if you're at the Start night in February, Tammy was there. It's like the anthem. It's unbelievable. Like, it's so, and he recently is in the process, I think he just completed selling it to a really big country star. And so to hear him, kind of his experience, and I picked those 3 musicians, and I might say this later, because they've all shaped their lives deliberately. Like, there are 3 musicians, and Sandra McCracken had a family emergency, so she had to take off, but the 3 musicians we had tonight have all said, I don't need the shiny, I need my family, I need my art, I need my craft, and it's okay to stay at that size. Like, if I get to play the shows I want to play and live the life I want to play, that's enough. And so I love when I can run into people like that versus, you know, I've got to get to a certain level to validate that I matter. And all 3 of these guys are musicians that I've had the chance to know for a while. Derek Webb's hilarious. He's going to do Wedding Dress, which is just a brilliant song. And I said to him as a joke when I was walking over here, I was like, if you could change whore to Tamar, that would probably help. Just make it more biblical. And so, like, it's just a beautiful song. And Dave Barnes, of course, is just brilliant and hilarious. And we've had a good friendship for the last couple of years. And he, you know, sold his song to Blake Shelton. God Gave Me You, which is a beautiful song that he wrote. So when I interviewed him on the podcast this week, the first question I asked was, what's it like to be married to Miranda Lambert? And then I said, is Adam Levine nice off camera? He seems nice. And he just rolled with it. So I think it's going to be a ton of fun. We've got a really full day tomorrow. Again, the START experiment response has been unbelievable. I'm so happy that there's other events happening outside of this. Like that, I never want to be the bottleneck. Like I love that we can share resources and ideas, and that 70 people went to the food court. Like I love that happened. And I saw Instagram photos. Like that's great. And I love that folks like Casey have said, let's try this. And I think we're just at the beginning. And I think there's such a cool thing about people that are safe enough to dream. And it feels like old school, like before the jerks got their internet to me. Like the Facebook group feels like early, where like trolling wasn't a thing yet. Like you go, hey, I have this hope, and this is what and there's not an attack thread. There's loud walkie-talkies. But it's just that, I think that's really fun. And it reminds me, I told my wife, Jenny, it reminds me of what it was like when I started Stuff Christian's Life. Like the early days of conversation, and I like that it's self-regulating. That I don't have a concern that if somebody's a jerk, there's enough nice people that go, hey, that's not what this is about. And so like when the woman, and I responded to it, I don't know if she got my response or not, but when the woman talked about her husband being in the hospital for cancer, 4 or 5 people emailed me personally. Like Jim Woods reached out and said, hey, I want you to know this is the story. And she's here tonight. And she's here tonight in large part because the START experiment community said, hey, you're on the road somewhere, you're doing something somewhere, you can't miss this. And I don't know a better definition of friendship. And that in that moment, quote-unquote strangers said, hey, this person who I might not have met, I haven't had coffee with, I haven't sat down with, is hurting, and we don't want you to miss that this matters. And so to me, that's, we've done a lot of great things with the START experiment, but little things like that are what makes it matter. That when somebody expresses needs, 6 different people email me, 6 different people tweet me to make sure that we didn't miss it. And I think that's exciting, and I think that matters. And if you told me at the beginning of this that this room would exist, I would have said you're crazy, or that people would have done a 1-mile dance on the run to Loveless, like as like Ryan and those guys did. Like that's crazy, but there's all these little things like that. So my hope is that this is the beginning. We certainly want your feedback on how to make it great. I don't have the desire to kind of control it or put boundaries around it. I really like the safety of the Facebook group because I think a tribe needs a fence, but I don't think it needs a high fence. So I don't want it. I want us to all do our part to not make it the cool kid table, but make it the invitation. And my hope is that there's a few hundred people in the other side of the building that will be in this side of the building next time. And so I want us to be like that. And when we do the next round, I want us to find a friend and invite them along and just do that. And then I just think it'd be fun next time to have the list of things that the START experiment folks have done, because it's going to be written 50 books, walked through 3 bouts of cancer together, lost, like imagine if we got to say we lost 10,000 pounds, like we lost 5 elephants, like that'd be fun. I don't think that's a bad goal. And so that's my mark for it. Again, I'm honored that you guys have got to be here. I'm really excited about tomorrow. I was super nervous tonight. Now I feel like we've got the first session out of the way. I feel like I can kind of relax into it, but there's definitely a lot of that pressure, and it's a weird thing, especially, and I'll mention this tonight, if you're a guy who, I fear success. So things that go well, like if you're like me, you want to drill holes in your own ship if things start working. Because I told Jenny, I know how to be the mess up. I've done that. When you're the mess up, there's no expectation, just that you mess up. When you have a little bit of win, the way I say it is that the hero's clothes weigh heavier than the villains. And so, to have a night like this is really fun, but it's also, honestly intimidating to me because it's, there's banners and things and DJs and it feels big. And so I don't want it to ever get so big that I miss the smallness of the stuff that matters. And again, I think emails about friends in need matter, and getting together to have dinner. And so again, I want to thank Becky and Kevin and those guys. This was their idea, this was their surprise, and I'm honored that, again, Becky, what you need to know, Becky doesn't work in the department that does this. Like this is a labor of love. Like she's not on the social team. Like this was. Before I close up, I want to say thanks to the Frankenstar folks. And Carrie Moe wasn't able to join us, right? There's a couple folks, but Melissa's here somewhere, right? Melissa Hawks is. All right, Melissa's here. Ryan, and so many. And it was so great because she said when we talked on the phone, we don't want to step on the site you're designing. And I was like, that's adorable. Like, we're not smart enough to have a site we're building. And it was like, in a matter of days, she launched something with this whole, the midwives of the Start Revolution. Like, it was unbelievable. And so know that on our end, we're inspired, we're challenged. I love that I got to tell, Dave Ramsey, hey, there's a site called Frankenstart, and we didn't do it. We need to do something. That helps me. Because it's, again, that classic, like, it's not whether the conversation will happen, it's whether we'll be part of it. And on my end, I love that you guys are talking. I love that you're building. I love that you're dreaming. And so, Ronnie, Melissa, Ryan, all the folks that have gone above and beyond to kind of carry the story and create doodles, like it was, is it Libby who created the Libby doodle? There's just so many cool things like that. So I had a blast tonight. I'm looking forward to tomorrow, and we'll do one more session tonight, and then the musicians. So, all right, thanks.
All right, so before John bolts Casey.